Nah, switch up.
The highest cloud, I've been up for so long, don't wanna calm down. I just wanna stay up, man, I'm gonna stay up. I just want.
Yo, what's going on, people? It's your boy Ichi Tricks here, part of the Ichi Band Squad, and I got a big one for the Raven players out there. Yes sir, the Raven clan. But we're gonna take a look at some of the changes for Raven in season 2. So as you know, season 2 dropped about maybe a week ago, a little bit longer than that, and everyone's got like an overhaul in terms of their offense and their defense too, and that includes Raven. So in this video, we're gonna look at some of the key changes that Raven received in season 2, some of the big buffs that he's received, and some frame changes and whatnot, and then hopefully you guys will have a better idea and understanding of what it's like to play with Raven now. Just really quick, if you guys enjoy this content, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Lets me know that you guys enjoy it, and it will motivate me to put more guides in as time goes on for Tekken. Right, enough talking, enough chatting. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Alright people, welcome to the video where I will be discussing Raven's main changes in Season 2. Season 2 saw a bunch of characters get buffed, and one of those included Raven. Raven saw a nice big overhaul in terms of buffs, and there's been quite a few different things that have been added to Raven, and this whole video's purpose is to break that down so that you as Raven players can understand better how your character performs in this new season. Really quick, if you do enjoy this type of content, please do consider subscribing and liking the video. To start with, what we're going to do is we're going to break up some of the changes, because there's quite a few. We're going to break up the changes into 3 main categories, and the categories I like to describe are categories for new mix, so that's new mix options that Raven's got from his new moves. Frame changes, so certain frame changes that have been implemented on certain moves to make them either less minus or plus or whatever the case may be. And general gameplay changes as well, so these are actual changes in terms of the functionalities of certain moves and how that affects his gameplay as well. We're going to use these categories to kind of break down the changes that have been happening so far with Raven. So the first category I like to start with is new mix. Alright, let's talk about the new changes for Raven, specifically in the new mix category. So how I'll describe this is by talking about this specific move here, which allows Raven to teleport. I believe in Tekken 7 it was called Black Hole or something like that, but this is Raven's kind of teleport move, which allows him to go into different stances for mix. You have the regular one, which allows him to just face the front. You have the back turn one, which allows him to hop into back turn stance really quickly, and then you have the crouching one, which allows you to go into crouch, and all of these are accessed by pressing a specific button after soul zone. So you can press soul zone and then press back to do the back turn, soul zone and then down to do the full crouch version, and then soul zone up for just the regular one. Now with certain moves this is automatic, which is really good because it helps Raven a bit more with his mixed gameplay. So some of those examples would be 2-4. 2-4 automatically puts you in that quote-unquote black hole mix, and you can do different variations of it. You can do 2-4 and hold back to go into back turn, or you can do 2-4 and hold down to go for a full crouch mix. And this change has been applied to a few moves that Raven has. 2-4 is one example. Another example is back turn back to 4 as well, so you can see he does it there specifically, and you can hold back. Say for instance if you do back turn back to 4, you can hold back to stay in back turn, or you can do the same thing but hold down to go into a full crouch mix. Same thing applies specifically there as well. Same thing also applies for Soul Zone 3. So in Soul Zone 3 you can do the exact same thing as well. So they've buffed quite a few moves for Raven which allow him to, you know, continue his mix up by giving him that black hole treatment, allowing you to go for more trickier setups and be even more confusing to the enemies as Raven. And we all love that because Raven is our favorite ninja. One more move that needs mentioning is a new move from Raven, back turn down 2. He got a new low, which is fantastic. It's +4 on hit, and it's a new low which allows him to go into that black hole teleportation thing, and you can hold down to do the same thing with all the other aforementioned moves before, like 2-4 and back turn back 2-4 as well. You're able to absolutely choose in which aspect or avenue you want to, you know, enforce your mix, and go ahead and keep doing that. So really cool buffs from Raven, really nice changes there, really makes him a little bit more viable in terms of that trickiness, and I'm happy to see that's been implemented for him. And that is the first category done. Alright, and now for Raven, I'd like to talk about some of the frame changes that he's received on specific moves. So in Season 2, the devs changed some of the frames on certain moves to be more plus or less minus depending upon the move that we're talking about. And I think it's important just to kind of touch on those moves just so you know, so it can potentially help you out in the gameplay, maybe change your gameplay plan a little bit more, and give you a little bit more of an edge, right? So the first move I'd like to talk about is Raven's Crouch Dash 1+2. It's a Crouch Dash move and it's a mid, and that is what it looks like. You can see the connotations for it at the bottom, and this move is now +5 on block. This is massive because originally this move, I believe, in Season 1 was around -9, -8 on block, so it was safe as well. You had decent tracking, but you lose your turn. Now you actually gain a turn because it's +5, and it is a power mid from Raven's Crouch Dash, which is big. Like usually Raven has a few mids from his Crouch Dash, but they have been a bit lackluster. This is the first kind of mid that's come out of Crouch Dash, which is actually plus on block, and one of the few mids that he has that has plus on block as well, and that's a welcome change for Raven too. Me personally, I like to use this at the wall. Once you've got someone on the flip over, you want to go for that Crouch Dash mix up, whether you want to do like the sweep or you want to do like the mid. The mid will give you plus frames, and that will allow you to kind of do some nasty follow-ups with like War Rising 2, or it puts you in crouch so you can do the Aqua Spider as well. So really decent change, really big change. I'm happy with it, and I think try and implement this move as much as you can where you can, you know what I mean? The next move I'd like to talk about is Crouch Dash 2. So this is his little sweep move. It's now 22 frames. Beforehand, this move used to be around 23 to 24 frames, maybe in 25. I doubt it, but it used to be a little bit slower, so they've sped up the frames now. It's a little bit quicker. You can see visually it's a little bit quicker, and that's really good because that just helps you out in combat, generally speaking anyways. So decent change there. Crouch Dash 3+4, another Crouch Dash move, or his Wild Rising 3+4. It's now -9. So beforehand, this move used to be -11 or 12, I believe, and now it's -9. So now this move is a safe homing heat engager move, which is really big. So you can kind of use it out of your Crouch Dash, and it's a safe heat engager move, which also tracks as well because it is homing. You can see there the little symbol with the roundabout. It's the homing move, so really decent as well. They've made it safe, so you can kind of get away with spamming this a little bit, but generally speaking, they've made him a little bit more safer in that regard too. Speaking of safer, I want to talk about the clones because they've received a bit of a decent change as well. The clones are now -13. Now beforehand in Season 1, the clones were -14, which meant that these clones could be launched, when you use this move, it could be launched by 14 frame launchers. One of those specifically being Brian's Jet Upper. Everyone knows Brian's Jet Upper. If you used a clone on it, you could get launched for it. Now you can't anymore because they're -13. But that's a small change, but a very big change in terms of gameplay. It just shows you just making one small change to frames can affect a game a lot in Tekken, and this is one of those examples. -13 is still punishable, but now it's not launch punishable anymore, so Raven players can use it a little bit more liberally, especially against those characters that had 14 frame launchers like Brian and Lars. And this goes for all versions of the clone. You know what I'm saying? All of the versions, as long as the clone comes out, it's going to be -13 if you're in your normal state. If it's in heat, it's the same thing, it's still -3. The last move I want to talk about, which is kind of funny, Abyss Cannon. Now this is Raven's back turn 3+4 move, which looks like this. Everyone knows that it's part of like a combo filler, but they've changed the frames on it now and they've made it -14. Now beforehand in Season 1, this move used to be -19, -20, and it used to be launch punishable by everybody. Now it's only launch punishable by those that have a 14 frame launcher like Brian or Lars. So it's a lot safer now. It's still launch punishable technically speaking, and it's still punishable, but a lot of the cards won't be able to launch you, but it is a launcher in itself as well. So you can be cheeky if you're going for like a back turn mix and you want to catch them out on the mid, you can use it, but just be wary that it is still quite punishable, and for those characters that have 14 frame launchers, it is very punishable as well. But this is a very interesting change. I've never seen Abyss Cannon be this safe before. Even in Tekken 7, I believe Master Raven had this move and it was like -19, -20. So the fact that they've made it -14 is kind of crazy within itself. But we're not going to complain about that anyway. So yeah, those are all the changes I want to talk about from a frames perspective. Okay, and the last changes I'd like to talk about for Raven are some gameplay changes. These are gameplay changes that Raven received in Season 2, some of it specific to Raven and some of it kind of based around some generic changes that they made to the game as a whole and how it affects Raven as well. Obviously you can check these out in the patch notes, but I thought I'd give a visual representation of what these look like in Season 2 for Raven. So the first change, I'm sure people know that in Season 2 the devs were intent on removing some power, to removing heat engaging moves from Power Crush as well. So certain Power Crush moves also had heat engagers, and that's been removed in Season 2, and Raven is no exception. He has lost the heat engager function for his forward 1+2. It was a Power Crush move, now it doesn't necessarily go straight into heat anymore. It's just a straight Power Crush move, 30 damage, decent now. I think it's -13 on block now. Beforehand it used to be -14, but now it's -13, so they did that to compensate. And what they've done to also compensate as well is that they've given the heat engager function to a new move for him, which is forward 2. So now Raven's quote-unquote demon paw is now a heat engager, and it also functions the same way as the other heat engagers as well. The only difference is you can actually get a combo with it if you land it in open, and you can get like a heat dash and everything like that. So it functions the same way like most heat engager moves, except it's forward 2 now, so keep that in mind. Another change now is that you can actually use your heat smash move from stance. So beforehand no one can really do this. If you were in a stance, you was locked behind that stance and you couldn't necessarily do any moves, specifically heat moves, whether that's the heat engagement move or the heat burst move from stance. You can do that now. So if I was to do, like, for instance, Soul Zone, I can do Soul Zone and the heat smash move and it comes out straight, and the same thing works with the heat engagement move as well. So this is a worldwide change for every character, but it benefits Raven the same way it benefits a lot of characters, in the sense that it gives them a little bit more options for mix as well, specifically. Speaking of mix, the last change I want to talk about here is Soul Zone, and Soul Zone actually got an addition. Now you can go into crouch dash from Soul Zone if you hold forward. So you can press Soul Zone and hold forward, and you can do the crouch dash there. And the intention, I believe, for this was to make Raven even more tricky, to make him a little bit harder to read. Even Season 2, they wanted to really buff the trickiness of Raven as part of his identity, and to that end they've given him the crouch dash from Soul Zone, so you can mix in people up even more, or you can make people hesitate even more, and it just makes Raven a lot harder to read, and I believe that's their intention. And decent change, good change. I think will take a little bit of time to get used to, but you should definitely try and utilize this in your game if you've got that opponent that's not pressing, and you can really enforce some decent mix-ups, especially with the crouch that's 1+2, which is plus and block. So yeah, that's all the gameplay changes that have been introduced to Raven. Alright, and that is the Season 2 overview for Raven. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. Please leave a comment and let me know if you did, and consider subscribing, as that will give me more motivation to push out some more guides. I'll definitely be on the YouTube channel with some more gameplay as time goes on. We still got the rank series going on, especially with the rank reset, and things are harder than ever. But if you can implement these tactics that I talked about in the video, you should fly. Raven's trickier than ever. He's safe, he's a lot more safer, and he has a lot more utility to enforce some mix-up. So make sure you include that in your gameplay. Other than that, it's been Ichi Chooks, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.
The highest cloud, I've been up for so long, don't wanna calm down. I just wanna stay up, man, I'm gonna stay up. I just want